coming to you live with more Star Wars Unlimited live gameplay featuring live commentary. This time we're going to have a Boba versus Vader match. So we got on the left, we have Faith playing Boba Fett, or I'm sorry, playing Darth Vader. And on the right, we have his Dudeness playing Boba Fett. So let's see how this goes. Taking a look at these leaders. Boba Fett, when an enemy unit leaves play, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, ready a resource. He deploys at 5 resources. His Dudeness has chosen to run the Energy Conversion Lab, which only has 25 life, but allows you to, once per game, play a unit that costs 6 or less from your hand and give it ambush. And on the other side of things, we have Faith selecting the generic Command Center base, which has no text but begins with 30 life instead of 25. And Darth Vader, who comes out at 7 resources to deploy him, and can spend 1 and exhaust to deal 1 damage to a unit and 1 damage to a base if you played a villainy card this phase. So Boba is a leader that can be deployed much quicker than Darth Vader, but Vader has a lot of power when he gets into position. And we'll have to see how this goes. Leading off with Admiral Piet, 2 cost 1/4. Each friendly non-leader unit that costs 6 or more gains ambush. So this ability isn't going to be relevant until later on in the game, but can potentially allow you to bring in a big unit and make a splash. Interestingly, it looks like both players playing Admiral Piet here on this first turn. So moving into the next round, the player's resource initiative is going to remain with Faith here. And we see the Emperor's Royal Guard, 3 cost 3/4. While you control an official unit, this unit gains Sentinel. While you control Emperor Palpatine as a leader or unit, this unit gets +0/+1. And Piet is an official, so this is a Sentinel. On the other side of things, we see Colonel Yularen, ISB Director. 2 cost 2/3. When you play a command unit, including this one, heal 1 damage from your base. And rather than attacking with Admiral Piet, who would be forced to attack the Emperor's Royal Guard there thanks to Sentinel, his Dudeness decides to just take the initiative. Moving into the next turn here, both players resourcing, and this is we could see Boba Fett seeing the field pretty soon. It's not going to be this turn, but next turn we could see it. Oh, nice. Faith brings out the little Sentinel title to make it clear that clear to the viewers that is a Sentinel unit. Okay. 3 resources, a super laser technician, being played with the energy conversion lab. Play a unit that costs 6 or less from your hand, give it ambush. With ambush, the super laser technician attacks the Emperor's Royal Guard and is defeated. When defeated, you may put this unit into play as a resource and ready it, which now means that his Dudeness has hit the 5 resources that he needs to get Boba Fett on the field. Faith at a bit of a disadvantage here with that nice ramp play there off of the energy conversion lab, as we're going to see Boba hit the field this turn, and we're also, we're probably going to see some trouble here for the Vader side of things. However, he can still deploy some stuff, ping some units. It's not like, it's not over or whatever. However, I do think that ramping up and getting your leader out early is a very strong thing to do, and it's going to be especially strong in this matchup because Boba Fett already comes out 2 turns before Vader can deploy. And being able to deploy Boba instead 3 turns early is potentially going to be a big shift in this game, although, of course, Faith could see some ramp cards of his own to change this up. Emperor's Royal Guard making an attack. Who is being attacked? Hits Admiral Piet for 3 damage and remains alive. Piet is going to attack into the Emperor's Royal Guard on his Dudeness' side of things, defeating him, and Boba Fett's ability does trigger. When an enemy unit leaves play, you may exhaust this leader if you do ready a resource. We now see a First Legion Snowtrooper, 2 cost 2/3. While attacking a damaged unit, this unit gets +2/+0 and gains Overwhelm. Excess damage dealt to the enemy base. And now we see a Death Star Stormtrooper being deployed as well. 1 cost 3/1. Boba Fett defeats the First Legion Snowtrooper, taking 2 damage. And when this unit completes an attack, if an enemy unit left play this phase, ready up to 2 resources. So his Dudeness here has gone all the way back up to 5 resources from triggering the both of Boba Fett's abilities, the leader side and the unit side. And now those 5 resources are being used to play Agent Callus. 5 cost 4/4 with ambush. When another unique unit is defeated, you may draw a card. Agent Callus defeats Admiral Piet, and that's going to be a card draw for his Dudeness. Also a life gain when he comes into play from Colonel Yularen. Colonel Yularen trades with the Death Star Stormtrooper and clears the board completely. Very, very tough turn for Faith. Went from having a better board to having a completely wiped board, and the opponent having 2 strong units on the field. And we do see open fire, 4 damage to Boba Fett. Yeah, Boba Fett is picked off here. I think he was pinged by Vader for 1 damage last turn, in addition to the 2 damage from the First Legion Snowtrooper. So Boba is removed. Agent Callus swings into the base for 4 damage. And unfortunately for Faith, he doesn't have anything else he can play. He's kept 2 copies of Overwhelming Barrage in hand. This is a really good card in the right situation, but he doesn't have the right situation right now. He doesn't have a single unit on the field that he can actually play with, that he can actually use the Overwhelming Barrage with. We see a ATST deployed by his Dudeness, 6 cost 6/7 with Overwhelm. On the next turn, Faith brings out a Gladiator Star Destroyer, 5/6 in the Space Arena, but the ATST hits his base, as does Agent Callus. He's taking huge damage in the ground arena, and another ATST on the field. Some Boba Fett decks don't even go this high in their cost curve, but his Dudeness with the Command Boba deck is running some bigger units, and this is looking very dangerous for Faith. He desperately needs to stabilize. We see Overwhelming Barrage come out 7 plus, so a friendly unit gets +2/+2. Then it deals damage equal to its power divided as you choose. So 7 damage. That's enough to kill 1 ATST. But killing 1 ATST, I don't think is necessarily enough to give this game to Faith. He's got to get more than that. Can he probably use Vader's ability and then deploy Vader here? So using Vader's ability, 1 damage to Agent Callus. ATST hits the base for 6. Vader deploys. Overwhelming Barrage immediately takes down Vader, and that's probably game. I guess it's not over yet, but at this point, Dudeness has to take initiative, because if he doesn't, the ATST will attack his base and immediately win. So he takes the initiative. He does have a chance. He does have a chance to try and kill the ATST before it can attack. But looking at the hands here, that surprise strike in his Dudeness's hand means it's not going to matter. This game is essentially over. All right, we got Agent Callus and the ATST on the field. All right, what do we got here? 5 resources. There comes the Overwhelming Barrage, +2/+2. Picks off the ATST, and then we're gonna see Surprise Strike, Agent Callus killing the base. Yeah, Surprise Strike, attack with the unit gets +3/+0 for this attack, and that's 7 damage to the base, only 6 life left. And his Dudeness with a convincing win here with his Boba Fett command deck versus Faith's Vader command deck. That was just a massive turn on that was a massive turn with Boba coming out his turn early, wiping the board, using Boba's using Boba's resource recovery to play Agent Callus to kill that last unit and achieve the full board wipe. It was devastating to Faith, and he was not able to come back after that. Interesting dynamic and a good example, in my opinion, of the strength of the energy conversion lab. His Dudeness may have had 5 less life on his base, but this ability was so instrumental here in allowing that super laser technician to swing a turn, to swing in the turn that he was deployed and die a turn early, becoming a resource and allowing Boba to deploy a turn early. Great combo there with the energy conversion lab and the super laser technician. Looks like the players are going to go for a rematch here, so I think I'm going to keep streaming. Um, I'm gonna be right back. One moment. And we're back. Okay. Game leads off with Faith deploying a TIE LN fighter, 1 cost 2/1 space unit. Very basic, but can be quite effective. His Dudeness sends in Admiral Piet, and Faith pings him with Vader's ability. So Vader's ability, 1 resource exhaust. If you played a villainy card this phase, deal 1 damage to a unit and 1 damage to a base. So 1 damage to Piet and 1 damage to the energy conversion lab. So right now, I would say that this opening, I think I like Faith's side of this opening more than I like his Dudeness' side, because that tie is a more relevant unit early on in the game than Admiral Piet, quite frankly, and being able to fire off Vader's ping as well is just generating that bit of additional value. Admiral Piet swings into the base, dealing 1 damage here to Faith's main base. Resupply, put this event into play as a resource. So this is a command event, strong card. That's going to be it's going to be up to 4 resources there, and we see the TIE Fighter swing for another 2 damage. On his Dudeness' side of the board, a Super Laser Technician hits the field. 3 cost 2/1. When defeated, you may put this unit into play as a resource and ready it. Last game, this got huge results with the Energy Conversion Lab, but this game, ironically, there isn't a ground unit on the field right now on Faith's side of the board, so the Super Laser Technician might not have somebody to attack into in order to be defeated and come out with the ramp ability to get Boba on the field early. Okay, what do we got here? All right. So we see Grand Moff Tarkin being deployed over here. So 4 cost 2/3, very bad stats for cost. But when you're played, you get to search your top 5 cards for up to 2 Imperial cards, reveal them, and draw them. So it gives some good card advantage. And we see General Veers, 3 cost 3/3. Other friendly Imperial units get +1/+1. And we also see Admiral Piet, another copy. And Admiral Piet is unique, so both aren't going to see the field. But yeah. Nice play by Faith playing prepare for takeoff. Search the top 8 cards of your deck for up to 2 vehicle units, reveal them, and draw them. But he actually misses. He doesn't see a single one. That is some bad luck there on Faith's side of the board. That's crazy. All right, so the question now is, yeah, so his Dudeness actually opts to pass. He doesn't take the initiative, he just passes, because this means that if Faith deploys a ground unit, the Super Laser Technician can swing into it, die, and allow Boba to be deployed a turn early. However, that's not what we see. It's a Faith just claims the initiative and the turn ends because if one player passes and the other person takes the initiative, that's it for the turn. So it ends up being that Faith doesn't get a chance to deploy a unit, but his Dudeness doesn't bring Boba Fett out a turn early. Interesting situation there, and a good example of how the initiative mechanic in this game can lead to some interesting results. All right, what's going to happen next? So Vader is up to 6 resources, and interestingly, we do see that Faith has a copy of the Super Laser Technician in hand. Uh, now, if Faith had been playing the Energy Conversion Lab, we could see that Super Laser Technician being sent in to die on the enemy unit and potentially bring Vader in a turn early, but we're not going to see it. Oh, but you know what he can do? He can deploy the Super Laser Technician, and then if his Dudeness doesn't kill it, he can actually use Vader's ability to damage his own Super Laser Technician. And by that method, go up to 7 resources and deploy Vader this turn. So we could see we could quite possibly see Vader and Boba deploying on the same turn, which is a very positive outcome for Vader, since normally Boba comes out a full 2 turns earlier. Oh, and we do see the Super Laser Technician trade. Okay, so that means both player Super Laser Technicians become readied resources. That means that there are now 6 resources available for his Dudeness. And Faith has 4 available, but he has 4 available with 7 total, which means that we could see Darth Vader on the field this turn. 6 resources, ATST, and it has ambush thanks to Admiral Piet. Each friendly non-leader unit that costs 6 or more gains ambush. So this ATST is deployed for 6, takes down the cell block guard, and has 3 damage left over to spill onto the base. Vader's ability being used here for 1 damage to who is it? Yeah, 1 damage to Piet, 1 damage to base. Boba Fett deploys onto the field. Boba Fett, a 5-cost 4/7. When this unit completes an attack, if an enemy unit left play this phase, ready up to 2 resources. Note that it doesn't have to leave play from Boba's attack. Boba hits the base for 4, and that readies 2 resources. On the other side of things, so Vader could kill Tarkin and Piet. He could kill the AT-ST and Piet, though he would take a lot more damage. He could use both his abilities on Boba and kill Boba. Yeah, that's what he's going to do. So he attacks Boba for 5 damage and uses his on-attack ability to deal 2 damage to Boba, defeating Boba in one go. The problem is Vader's going to die here. Those 3 resources mean that we're going to see General Veers, and then those remaining 2 units can attack into Vader and defeat him, I believe. Although we'll have to see whether or not that's the case. No, he doesn't do anything. Okay. That's very surprising. I guess he decided to take the initiative rather than clearing off Vader with Tarkin and Piet. And the TIE Fighter hits his Dudeness's base for 2, but his Dudeness now does have the initiative going into this next turn, and there could be a big result. ATST takes down Vader. It's another ATST deployed onto the field. So a fresh ATST hits play and defeats Vader, overwhelmed, dealing some damage to the base as well. Admiral Piet getting big value this game. Maybe that's why he didn't want to. Maybe that's why he didn't want to have Piet die to kill Vader. cell block guard on the field, but it's not going to do anything. And another ATST can easily clear it and can damage the base as well. Yep. ATST clears the cell block guard and 3 overwhelm damage to the base. These ATSTs are a big problem here for Faith. What is he going to do to try to defeat them? He brings out a First Legion Snowtrooper, but that's not going to be enough. 2 resources available for his Dudeness, but that's not really going to do anything. The only card he has in play that he can actually bring out with 2 resources is the Admiral Piet, but Admiral Piet is a unique, so it doesn't matter. I suppose he could attack with his Admiral Piet that's already on the field, 1 damage to the First Legion Snowtrooper, defeat him with Tarkin, and then play the extra copy. But he decides to just take the initiative instead. The TIE Fighter that has been consistently swinging away all game, does some more damage to his Dudeness's base, and we're going to move on to the next turn. I think this game is probably going his Dudeness's way, though. The ground arena superiority here is overwhelming. No pun intended, because the overwhelm ability on these ATSTs is doing a lot of work. All right, ATST takes down the First Legion Snowtrooper, dealing the excess damage to the base. Wow, we see overwhelming barrage on a TIE fighter for only 4 damage, but that's enough to kill the ATST and defeat Piet. So that might well be the play that he needs, at least to minimize incoming damage at this time. But he doesn't. Yeah, Faith is in a tough spot. All he has in hand is a copy of Relentless, a super heavy unit and very powerful, but not one that I think is that safe to play in a situation where the ground arena is going this badly. We see General Veers hit the field, 3 cost 3/3. Other friendly Imperials get +1/+1, 4 damage to the base from that buffed TIE fighter. Tarkin hits Faith's base for 3 damage as he is buffed by General Veers. We're going to see Vader's ability pinging Veers and 1 damage to the base there as well. 10 life to 10 life. This game's coming down to the wire. An Emperor's Royal Guard deployed. Faith takes the initiative and another copy of Admiral Piet. And this ground arena is just looking so bad for Faith. His Dudeness must be pretty confident in the current situation. If there were even one more turn, maybe that copy of Relentless could stabilize the scenario, but I don't think there's going to be enough time. I think his Dudeness is picking up the win. The humble Ty Ellen fighter that has been getting value all game swings in for another 2 damage. But I think that's going to be the last attack that Faith gets to make, as his Dudeness's superior ground force is beginning to overwhelm it. And Faith gives his opponent's General Veers Vader's lightsaber, allowing him to clear out the base in 1 hit in a stylish form of concession. So that is going to be a victory. That is going to be a victory for his Dudeness with the Boba command build. Now, I have to say I think that running the energy conversion lab would be a large upgrade for Faith's deck. He would have been able to ambush in his super laser technician, take down an enemy unit, or attack into an enemy unit, and therefore not have a ground unit immediately there for the opposing super laser technician to attack into, but wasn't quite able to do it. All right, we're going to see whether or not they do another game here. If they do, I am happy to keep providing coverage of this match. But we will see. The ambush base here, the energy conversion lab. Personally, I think it's very worth it. You know, you do lose 5 hit points on your base, but you have You do have the ability to ambush in those units and do some major damage, set up some big plays. This Boba command deck that his Dudeness has been playing is kind of unconventional. I haven't seen a build like this before, but it seems to have gotten quite good results, and those ATSTs are kind of scary. All right, looks like they're maybe going to bring out another deck here to face the Command Boba. We'll have to see. It sounds like maybe they're not going to have a third round actually. Although no, it sounds like they are going to be a Leia, a cunning Leia deck to take on the energy conversion lab with Boba Fett. I'm going to quickly pause and restart the stream here just so that we have a separate video. But yeah, get ready.